Hello, this is Miss Casey with Fibo Kids Art Academy, and welcome back to another wonderful daily draw. This is our November daily draw, and we are on day 8. So for day 8, we are going to be drawing a wagon. Now, I've created not just any wagon, I created a Fibo wagon. As you can see here on my table, I have a wagon filled with goodies, fall goodies, and Fibo is also in the wagon. Now, when we create our wagon today, you can draw a Fibo wagon like me, you can draw Fibo inside, or you can draw any other details that you want. Maybe it's a wagon carrying pumpkins, maybe it's carrying a scarecrow, maybe it's carrying some other fall goodies. So you can decide what objects and items you want inside your wagon. It doesn't have to be Fibo, it can be anything you want. So get creative. I'm going to teach you the drawing first, and then we'll get into some coloring. So for our drawing steps, first we're going to need a piece of paper. Now it can be any piece of paper that you have. Now if you've been doing your daily draws in a sketchbook, go ahead and grab out your sketchbook or just regular piece of paper, however you are doing that. And then at the top of your paper, you want to make sure to write the number 8. Again, this is day 8. Once you have your paper set up, you're going to take out your pencil because you are going to be doing your drawing in a pencil, but I will be doing my drawing in Sharpie. So take out your pencil, but I will use my Sharpie so you can see my lines better. Now once you have your paper ready, we're going to start with the wagon, and we're going to draw that right in the middle of our paper. Now you can draw the wagon with me, but once we get to the goodies inside, you can decide whatever it is you'd like to draw. You can follow along with me or get creative and do your own things inside of the wagon. So let's go ahead and start with the wagon. For the front of the wagon that we see, we want to draw a nice big rounded rectangle. So we're going to start on the left side and draw your rounded edge on the left. Now when you draw a rounded rectangle, these points at the end are not going to be points, they're just rounded. And then you're going to continue on the bottom part of that rectangle. And once you reach the other side, again, you want to round off those ends and go ahead and connect it at the top. So now you have a nice big rounded rectangle. Once you have the rectangle for your wagon, we're going to go ahead and start underneath and draw the wheels of the wagon. So on the left side, underneath, you're going to draw a nice medium-sized circle for your first wheel. And then on the right side, again, you're going to draw a nice medium-sized circle for your second wheel on the right. So we have two wheels. These are our front wheels that we see. But then we'll see the two back wheels, so there should be 4 wheels. We have 2 in the front and 2 in the back that are hiding a little bit. So for the left side, we'll draw a curved line from the bottom of our wagon to the top of our wheel. And then on the other side, another curved line. It's a little bit bigger, and we'll do that from the bottom of our wagon to the side of our wheel. And then for the back on the right side, again, small curved line at the top, and then a little bit bigger as you come inside to that inside wheel. All right, now that we have all 4 wheels for our wagon, we're going to draw in the front wheels that we are able to see. We're going to go in the middle and draw a smaller circle right inside of those wheels. And then on the outside, just a little bit bigger than our middle circle, you're going to draw another circle on the outside for the wheel, the rim of the wheel. So again, on this right side, another circle for that outer edge. Now once you have that, you can go ahead and do that again for the back wheels, but again, we won't really be able to see much. So just draw what you'll be able to see. Those are the outer wheels, rims, and then we have the inside circles. All right, now once you have those details for your wheels, next we're going to go up to the right and we'll draw the handle that pulls the wagon. So we're going to start first on the right side of our front wagon. You're going to draw 2 horizontal lines that come out to the right. And then from that top line, you're going to draw a diagonal line that comes up toward the top of your wagon. And then on that bottom line, you're going to draw a diagonal line that comes down to touch the right side of your front wheel. So now that we have those 2 lines on with a little bit of space, Still connected to your wheel, you're going to draw another diagonal line that follows the first one, and then come up till you reach the middle. And then you're going to draw a diagonal line that comes over along that first diagonal line that we made for the handle, comes up, and then you're going to curve it out for the handle. So we have the part of the wagon that pulls it. And then on your wagon, if you would like to name it, you can go ahead and write in that front area, write a word. Maybe you want it to say Fibo wagon like mine. Maybe you want it to, instead of Fibo, maybe it's you inside the wagon, so you can name it your own name. Miss Casey's wagon, my wagon, whatever you want it to be named. Or you don't have to name it at all. You don't have to write anything. That's all up to you. I'm going to be writing mine in cursive. If you know cursive, you can follow and do cursive lettering as well, or you can do regular lettering. That's up to you. But I'm going to write Fibo, and I'm going to make sure that it's nice and centered. Then I'm going to write wagon, Fibo wagon. Okay, now that I have my word, next I'm going to add in all the goodies inside of my wagon. However, I want my wagon to be the main thing that stands out, so I want these lines to be really bold. Now you're doing your drawing in pencil, so I recommend continuing with pencil, but I'm going to be switching to my thinner Sharpie since I won't have an outline step. You will, so you'll be able to switch to a thin Sharpie when you go to outline. But I'm going to just switch now since I'm using Sharpie already. And you can still follow along with me, again with your pencil, and then later you'll be able to outline using thick or thin Sharpies. That will be up to you. But for all of the objects and items that I add inside my wagon, I'm going to make those with smaller lines, thinner lines. So first I'm going to add Fibo. Again, you don't have to do Fibo. You can do a different person, you can do a scarecrow, or you can just have it full of pumpkins or stack of hay, leaves. That's all up to you. So I'm going to start first at the top of Fibo's head with the little beanie or hat that's at the top of Fibo's head. So I'm going to start with a curved line like a rainbow, nice and wide going across, and then I'm going to draw a letter C on the left and a backward C on the right for the sides. Then I'm going to connect it again with another rainbow right at the top. And then on the left side, I'm going to start for the top of the beanie, curve it over to the right, and then I'm going to curve that back down and over to the right side at the bottom of the hat. And at the very end of the hat, I'm going to add a little poof ball with a small little circle. Now that I have the hat for the top of Fibo's head, I do want to make sure that there's a good amount of space for Fibo or whoever you're drawing, whatever you're drawing. So now I have enough space. I'm going to draw his head and his body. So for his head, I'm going to come underneath his beanie, draw a nice big bottom part of my circle for the head. And then inside of Fibo's head, he has this little curved line that starts his face. So right inside at the bottom, I'm going to draw a curved line for his face. And then on each side, I'm going to add nice big circles for his eyes. And it's okay if your eyes overlap the outer part of his face a little bit. His eyes are really big. Then once you have those big circles for the eyes, you can go inside and draw a smaller circle. And then right in the middle of that, add an even smaller circle for his pupil. So once you have his eyes, you can add small little rainbows for his eyebrows, and then right inside of his face, a small little letter U for his mouth. Now that we have Fibo's head, let's go ahead. I'm going to draw a scarf underneath Fibo's head. If you'd like to add a scarf, you can follow along, or just wait until I get to the steps for his body. Before the scarf, I'm going to come right underneath his head, draw a nice big letter C underneath on the left, and a backward C underneath on the right, and then a curved line like a letter U to connect at the bottom. Now that I have that scarf, I'm going to continue with the rest of his body. So first, I'm going to add in a pumpkin. Now, I want Fibo to look like he's holding a pumpkin, and the pumpkin is going to be overlapping his body. So I want to draw that first, so I don't have much lines to erase. So right on top, I'm going to add two curved lines for the middle of the pumpkin, curved line at the top, and then add my stem. Then on the sides of the pumpkin, I'm going to draw curved lines like letter C's, backward C, another C, and backward C. And then right at the top, I want to add 2 curved lines to show the back side of the pumpkin. Okay, and then now that I have the pumpkin, I want to draw Fibo's arms holding it. So on the left side, underneath the scarf, I'm just going to draw a curved line coming down, and same thing for the right, curved line coming down. And then inside, I'm going to add a curved line that wraps around over onto the pumpkin for his hands. And then inside of the arms, if you have any space, you can just draw 2 straight lines for the sides of his body. Only if you have space. If you don't, you can just leave it how it is. So now if you'd like to add any other details, maybe you want to add some details to the beanie or the scarf, I'm going to add some lines along the bottom rim of the beanie just to show a little bit of detail. And I'm going to do the same thing to the scarf. Maybe you want to add polka dots or stripes. I'm just drawing some lines. Now that I have the details for Fibo, I'm going to continue on with other objects and details that I want to add to Fibo, or the wagon, the Fibo wagon. So I'm going to add a couple more pumpkins, maybe some hay sticking out, and even a couple of leaves. But again, you can add whatever it is you want. So you just want to make sure you have a good variety of size. Maybe some big pumpkins, some small pumpkins, little details, big details. So just make sure to add some variety, change it up, but have fun creating whatever it is you want inside your wagon. I'm going to draw another pumpkin, nice and big, over to the side over here. So I have 2 curved lines, a curved line at the top for my stem, add a stem at the very top, and then continue on with my curved lines like letter C's on the left and right, and then add the back side of my pumpkin. Now I have just a little bit of space on the right side, so I'm going to go in and add a leaf sticking out, add the details on the leaf. Okay, and then on the inside between Fibo and this big pumpkin, I'm going to add a smaller pumpkin. 2 curved lines, 2 more curved lines, back side, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hay kind of sticking out on the back side. Now on the right side here, I'm going to add another pumpkin next to Fibo. Add the stem, curve the lines, continue curving, and then add the back side. Then I'm going to add one more nice big pumpkin over on the left side of my wagon. I'm going to add the stem, curve my lines nice and big. There's another big pumpkin, maybe you have another leaf coming down. Maybe you have some more hay coming out on the sides, maybe a little bit in the background again. So you can go ahead, again, have fun with those details, adding whatever it is you want in your wagon. And if there's any lines you need to erase, make sure to go back in and erase those lines that are overlapping some areas. Once you are done drawing that in, you can go ahead and put your pencil down. If you do have any of this back area of your wagon showing, you can make sure just to close it up by drawing a diagonal line until you reach an item in your wagon. So for example, I'm going to show you my sample here. On the right side, my leaf didn't really touch the far edge, so I have a little piece of my wagon in the inside, and I just drew a diagonal line until I reached that leaf. So if you did see the inside of your wagon, you would just see these diagonal lines that come back because it's perspective, and then the back of the wagon would be somewhere back here. Okay, but now that we have those details drawn in, again, I use thick and thin Sharpie lines, so now that you're done drawing, you can take a moment to pause and outline your drawing. You can use just a thick Sharpie, or you can change it up and use thick and thin lines like I did. That's going to be up to you. And once you are done, go ahead and press play and you can continue on with our coloring steps. But if you are ready to begin coloring, next I'm going to be using markers and chalk pastels for our coloring steps. But you can use any materials you want to color Fibo in. But I'm going to go ahead and put away my drawing materials, and I'm going to bring out my markers. Now I'm going to use my markers first, and I'm going to be doing a different technique. Instead of filling everything in, I'm going to fill in my main things that I really want to stand out. That's going to be my wagon and Fibo. If you drew anything else inside your wagon, you would want that to stand out along with your wagon. But all the other objects and smaller details, we don't really need those to stand out. We want to make sure that the big things, the main subjects, are the ones that our eyes are drawn to. So rather than filling in those smaller objects, I'm only going to outline them. That's going to leave my main subjects more bold and help that stand out. So first I'm going to fill in my wagon, my Fibo wagon. Now you can go ahead and take your Sharpie and fill in some large black areas. For the large black areas, that's going to be your tires on the outside. So the outer circle on your tire, you can fill that in. Now when you're filling in, just make sure that you're going nice and carefully, getting all your white spots. If you would prefer to fill in with a black marker instead of a Sharpie, if it takes a little bit too long, you can use a black marker instead. That might be a little bit faster. I like the pure blackness of the Sharpie. So I'm using Sharpie to fill it in. Now, along with the outside of our tires, we also want to fill in the handle that pulls the wagon. However, if you want your wagon to look a little bit more like wood, instead of black, you can use brown to fill it in. I'm going to use black, have a little metal wagon. You can use whatever color you want. Now speaking of colors, when I go to fill in my wagon and Fibo and all my other objects, I'm going to be sticking to the color scheme we're using for our November daily draws. And those colors are fall colors, like warm red, orange, yellow colors, brown, and even a little pop of green. So I'm going to stick to those colors as I fill in my daily draw today. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in the handle. Again, you just want to make sure you're going nice and carefully, filling in that area neatly, taking your time. All right, now that I have filled in the outside of my tires and the handle where you pull the wagon, I'm going to put my Sharpie back. And next, I'm going to fill in my wagon with red. Now, normally we see red wagons, but if you would like your wagon to be a different color, you can choose a different color. But again, I want to stick to my fall daily draw color scheme, so I'm going to be using red for my wagon. And when you use markers, you want to make sure to outline first. I'm going to go around the edges of my wagon first. And then once I've outlined that, I also want to fill in the inside of my tires, the little small circles with red. So I'm going to outline those as well. And once I'm done outlining, I'm going to take the thicker part of my marker to fill in. Now, if you have a wide side, you can use that. But if you don't, just do the best that you can to fill it in nicely, one line at a time and in the same direction. Now, if you added words and you outlined those letters, filling over it with markers, not going to ruin your letters. But if you haven't outlined them yet, when you color it in with marker, your pencil are really not going to be seen anymore. So you really want to make sure that it is outlined before you color over your letters or your word, if you added a word. All right, now once your wagon is filled in, don't forget the little small circles inside your tires. Okay, and once that part of your wagon is colored, that's it for my red. Next, I'm going to fill in Fibo and the details. And again, if you didn't add Fibo, you can choose any other color, but you want that main subject to stand out, so you want to fill in all of those areas. So I'm going to take my orange. See, I'm going to find a bright orange here. And with my orange, I'm going to fill in Fibo's head. Now Fibo's orange, and then the inside where his face is white. So I'm going to go around the area for his face. I'm going to outline his arms and his body, the little piece of the body that you can see. And then once you're done outlining, you can go ahead and fill it in. Now make sure again you're going nice and neatly, one line at a time. And once you're done filling that in, next I'm going to take, to stay true to Fibo, even though I'm using a specific color scheme, Fibo's eyes are blue, so I'm going to take a light blue and color his eyes in. Again, just to stay true to Fibo. Now, I did forget to fill in the little pupils inside the eye. So I'm going to real quickly take my Sharpie, go in the middle, and fill the inside. If you have enough room to leave a little bit of an eye sparkle, you can go ahead and do that. But my eyes are really small, so I don't really have much room. But once you're done filling in the eyes, if there's any other colors you want to use to fill in other areas, like I have his beanie and his scarf, so I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to use brown for my main area of the beanie. I'm going to outline first, then I'm going to fill that in. Okay, and then I'm going to use yellow for the smaller detail areas of the beanie and scarf. Okay, I have the scarf now. Now if you have a pumpkin in the front, just make sure not to color in the pumpkin. And once you're done filling in those details, next you can do any color you want to fill in those objects and details. I have pumpkins, leaves, and hay, so I'm going to continue using my color scheme, but instead of filling everything in, I'm just going to outline so that way my main subjects stand out. But again, if you would like to fill it all in, you can. So I'm going to go back to some orange here, and I'm going to only outline along the edges of my pumpkins. Now if you want to use multiple colors for your pumpkins and not just orange, you can, but I'm just going to do orange for the pumpkin lines. Now you can make those edges as thick as you want, just as long as it doesn't look like it's filled in. Don't forget, if you have Fibo holding a pumpkin, don't forget to outline that one. Okay. And I have my last pumpkin here I'm outlining. And then once I'm done outlining the pumpkins, I'm going to take a green for the stems. You can use a brown if you want. I'm now going to outline the stems there. Okay. Once you have the stems, then you can choose other colors for your leaves if you added leaves. I'm going to do maybe like a red leaf. Again, I'm just outlining, not filling it in. Then maybe I'll have like a brown leaf over here. And then I also have some hay sticking out of my wagon. So if you want hay, you can use like a yellow for your hay. And again, I'm just outlining it, not really filling it in. If it's a small area and it ends up being filled in, that's okay. But once you're done outlining that area, and hopefully if you did only outline, hopefully you can see how the main subject in the wagon really stand out against those outlined objects that are not fully filled in. But once you are done using your markers, you can just leave your drawing like this, only marker, but I'm going to add in a little bit of some color in the background using my chalk pastels. So I'm going to go ahead and take my chalk pastels out. Okay, and I'm going to open these up. And using my chalk pastels, I'm going to add a little bit of like a gold or tan in the background. Now, I don't have a ground line. If you'd like to add a ground line, you can. So I'm just going to go behind my wagon here and add a little ground line, just so I know where the top and the bottom is. But then right along the outer edge, I'm going to get it a little bit darker around Fibo and then lighten it up as it comes away from Fibo in the wagon. I'm going to kind of make this little vignette effect, which just means it gets lighter as it goes away, or sometimes it gets darker as it goes away, but in my case it's going to get a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to press in that chalk as it comes around my objects and Fibo. Create this little outline here. And then once I have that, I'm going to start to kind of just blend in the rest. Stay in this little like circular motion, and then kind of just lightly blend and fade that out as it comes away. Okay, well once I have that, I can tap off the extra dust. And then I'm also going to add in a little bit of a shadow underneath my wagon. That doesn't mean I have to add a full color to my ground, but I'm going to take a little bit of gray and add a little bit of color underneath my wheels, underneath the bottom of the wagon. And then taking my fingers, I'm just going to press that in lightly, blend it. Again, get it to like fade out as it comes along the edge, away from the wagon. And then I can tap off that extra dust. And finish up that shadow. So as you can see here in my sample, and then the drawing that I did with you today, we just have a little bit of color to kind of make it stand out, brighten it up a little bit, and that is our daily draw. So thank you guys so much for joining in. I hope you guys enjoyed this daily draw, drawing our Fibo wagon, if that's what you made, or I hope you also got creative and made your own. But I'll see you guys again next time. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another daily draw, and please make sure to share your artwork with us. We love seeing them. So we'll see you guys again next time. My name is Miss Casey. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.